Thank you, Deb. That was beautiful. The theme for January 2021 is Timeless Vision, Evolutionary, let me start over. The theme for January 2021 is Timeless Wisdom, Evolutionary Vision. And the topic for today is Here and Now. Ernest Holmes wrote in The Science of Mind, page 50.2, how much of this infinite good is ours? All of it. And how much of it may we have to use? As much of it as we can embody. Holmes, reminding us of the power to use spiritual principle to create something new in the now, wrote, "Principle is not bound by precedent." That inspired spiritual humorist Swami Beyondananda to say, "Join my World Win campaign to elect ourselves and to choose a new president." Swami Beyondananda went on to say, "I am calling for an upwising, waking up and wising up to our true human potential and engaging millions to participate in the greatest adventure in human history, conscious evolution." Say with me with joy, I am joying the great upwising. I now wise up to my true potential and engage in the greatest adventure in human history, conscious evolution. Thank you. And now I'd like to turn it over to Reverend Kathleen.
Yeah, I think it's time for a little humor, my friends, correct? So that's my intention today, is that we all lighten up and wisen up to who we are in truth, and knowing that lighter, in fact, I just remembered something. Angels fly high because they take themselves lightly. I think that will be kind of our whole tone today as I offer these spiritual principles of truth. So I want to begin, though, first by, again, emphasizing that this month we embrace timeless wisdom. We call ourselves New Thought, Ancient Wisdom. And so for this particular week, the little nugget of wisdom, this is from Ernest Holmes, what we believe that I'm going to share is, we believe the ultimate goal of life to be a complete emancipation from all discord. Boy, is that a good one for right now, right? Complete emancipation of all discord of every nature, and that this goal is sure to be attained by all. Now that is a powerful statement, a powerful claim, because we know that we're all in this together, right? And following in the footsteps of Martin Luther King Jr., we have a dream. We call it an evolutionary vision. And so here's the piece of the evolutionary vision from Centers for Spiritual Living I want to share today. We envision humanity awakening to its divine magnificence and discovering the creative nature of thought. A world where each and every person discovers his or her own personal power and ability to create an individual life that works within a world that works for all. It's a win-win situation we're talking about here, and a very high vision. So here and now, that's the topic for today. It's the power of now that we hear about so much and so often. And that quote that you heard a little bit earlier, principle is not bound by precedent. That is a powerful statement claiming the power of now, the power of the here and now, the power of the present moment. Our ability to use spiritual principle, to use the creative power of our word and the universal law that is the creative power that brings it into manifestation, happens in the here and now. And in that, it means that we can create something fresh and new, unbounded by past circumstances or past history. That's really good news, friends, isn't it? We are not bound by what happened in the past. We can individually and collectively create something fresh and new. Let's keep our eye on that one. That's a really important piece. And A Course in Miracles has a beautiful statement about that I remember, and it really supports me, is the past can touch me not. It's a really powerful claim to not allow what happened in the past to come into our present experience, but to understand in the power of now, in the now moment, all kinds of possibilities can be taken place, and we can choose to participate in that creation. So the creative power, and it's not just some power, but the all power of universal law is available to each and every one of us. Why? Because of the principle of oneness. Yes, we all look like we're separate in these separate bodies, but the truth is, every time we think, and our belief structure it plays a really important piece in that. We are using not some of the creative power of the universe, or law is what Ernest Holmes calls it, but all of it. We are amazingly powerful beings. And that we know is good news, as long as we keep our focus on what it is that we desire for ourselves and for our planet. So the power of the past has already been used, and the power of the future is not yet ours. Our full and complete power is in the now, the present moment. So that awareness allows us to change a troubling condition into something new by beginning to talk and think about the thing we desire, and to stop talking about what we don't desire. This is a tall order, isn't it? Since our minds, it's the survival mechanism, our minds tend to want to go over the past and be afraid of the future. But we know that that doesn't serve us. Here and now, here and now, here and now is what serves us, consciously creating in the now moment. So there's a great shift taking place. We know that. We've heard it. We're experiencing it even now as I speak. Swami Byandananda, who is really beloved by the New Thought community and is just an amazing humorist and has been around, I think, since 1985 or something. He calls it an upwising, play on words, an upwising, wising up to our human potential and using it consciously. He says, now is the perfect time for you and I to make the shift. And here's why. Listen to this. Because it's too late to do it sooner. He says, to put it bluntly, if we humans don't begin rowing together in the same direction, we're going to end up Shift Creek without a paddle. So I promised you today a self-assessment, an opportunity for us to ask ourselves some questions about where we are right here and right now in consciousness and in our willingness to shift. So here's the first question. Where are you on the continuum from separation consciousness to total oneness consciousness? And you can just we do this in some of our classes. Where are you on a scale of 1 to 10? And then where would you like to be? Where would you like to be by the end of this year? It's really good to set some intentions for ourselves. Also, what kind of mystic are you? Are you a pessimistic? Or are you an optimistic? We call ourselves a mystical tradition. But notice, where is your mind? Are you always complaining or whatever, pessimistic, looking at the negative? Or are you willing to look for the good and be an optimistic? Look for the good and affirm it. Our next question is, what is the vision that's pulling you forward? I've offered some, but we're each very creative beings. What is your vision? Not only for your life, but for humanity, because we know we're all in this together. We all rise together. We all wise up together, right? So, are you willing to evolve? That's the next one. Are you willing? Are you willing to do the spiritual practice that is necessary to evolve? Are you? It might mean shifting what you do during the day. It might mean letting go of some activities that you do that are not as essential, and dedicating yourselves to a strong spiritual practice, because we know the spiritual practice, meditation, our affirmative prayer, the type of prayer we do with spiritual mind treatment, visioning, that all of these things that we teach in this community support the evolution of our own consciousness, and because we're interconnected, support the upwising of all humanity. So here's the thing, since we know that thought is creative, and we know that if we focus on problems, we just get more of the problem, we know that we need to be solution-oriented. That's what a new vision is all about. It's focusing on the solution. And so what I want to offer today is from Swami Beyond Ananda, his 4-step program for staying solution oriented, focusing on the vision, being the vibrational match to the vision. So here we go. The first one is wake up laughing. I love that one. Wake up laughing. So here's what he says. He said, do you know that the ancient Fuling masters who achieved cosmic consciousness came to realize life is a joke and God is laughing with us and not at us. The Creator is watching the comedy channel through us and as us. He said, yes, the world is in serious condition, largely because of our conditioning to be serious. Seriously. He said, so instead of having gravity bring us down, we choose levity to bring us up. He says, hearty laughter makes us go completely out of our heads and into our hearts. So this is just my comment on that. So being too reactive and too serious about what's going on in the news is not serving us. Yes, we need to know what the condition is so that we can offer prayer. But we want to make sure that we don't let seriousness take over us and destroy our appreciation of laughter and humor. So, watch a funny movie. Dan and Michelle and I watched a hilarious movie the other night, and just, in fact, I looked over at Dan at one point and tears were coming out of his eyes because he was laughing so hard. Laughter is so good for the soul. Find the humor in everyday life. We have people in our community that do that very well. In fact, one had his birthday yesterday, Tom Clark. And also, read a quote from Swami Beyond Ananda. He has a website. He has a whole bunch of really, they're all spiritually oriented, new thought oriented, to help lift your spirits. So humor, laughter. The second step is wise up loving. Love is my decision. There we go. So to counterbalance all the challenges of being human, we were given the power of love that Swami Beyond Ananda calls the universal solvent. You have a problem? Dissolve it in a warm solution of love. Love metabolizes all the BS, the belief system, right? The belief systems where we mistake for reality. And the good news is, love is more powerful than fear. How do I know? Have you ever heard anyone singing, "All you need is fear"? So, and here are my comments on that. Was Swami Beyondananda. Here are my comments on that. What problems of our own, of our country, are calling for love, the universal solvent? What problems are calling for this universal solvent that we call love? When we pray with great love, not just in our heads, but when we pray from our hearts with great love, using statements of truth and using the creative nature of our thought, we dissolve all the forms of separation, all of that BS, all those belief systems based on separation, racism, sexism, you name it, inequity, all of those things that are based on falsehood, on the idea of separation. When we bring love to it, the universal solvent, I just see it all dissolving back into the nothingness from which it came, and love being in its place. And so what is the new solution? So I'm thinking about the solvent and the solution. The new solution, of course, is unity and truth-telling, right? And equity, and a world that works for all human beings, all animals, all plants, all minerals, our entire planet. That's wise up loving. The third step is grow up giving. Grow up giving. And here's Swami Beyondananda. He says, you are the Creator's creation, created to create. I love that. Listen to that again. You are the Creator's creation, created to create. Yes. So, my friends, what are we waiting for? The time is now to give all we were given to give before we give out. The more of our gifts that we give, the more that we grow upward. So, listen to this. If you are spiritually upwardly mobile, I love that. If you're spiritually upwardly mobile, here is my suggestion. Make a bucket list of all the undertakings you wish to undertake before you are overtaken by the undertaker. And then undertake and overgive, and you can't grow wrong. So that's Swami Beyondananda. So here's my comment to that. So, do you want to be inspired by Creative Solution? I invite you to subscribe to Optimist Daily. It's put out by Omega Institute. Many of you know who that is. And it offers all kinds of creative innovations that are taking place on the planet right now. It pulls from a lot of different sources. But I read it daily. I get it in my email. And it's so inspiring. And it encourages me to keep giving the best of what I can give to all of you. The final step is show up living. So we show up for the greatest show on earth, says Swami Beyondananda. It's better than reality TV because it's reality. It is a once-in-a-lifetime whirlwind adventure show where the whole world can win. It's a hero's journey with one big hero, the human race. So if you don't like your current programming, turn off the TV and television. I tell you a vision, you tell me a vision. he goes on to say that here's his vision. He says, I tell a vision to you, here it is. Timeless Times has a headline that reads, how did the human race turn out? They won. They achieved oneness and won. Now you tell me a vision, and I'm inviting you to tell other people your vision. To have that be our habit now, that we talk about our vision instead of complaining about what's going on. Because I know that if we do this together, we're going to have a profound change. We are having a profound change. And so here are my comments on that as well. Have you noticed how our president-elect, our vice president-elect, and a lot of their team are telling a vision of unity and possibility? It really is happening on, at our governmental level. And then it's not just on the Democratic side, it's on the Republican side as well. Have you noticed that Ed Stetzer, he's been in the news, he's been in the newspaper. I saw an article by him on PBS. Anyway, he is the head of the Billy Graham Center at Wheaton College. That's right in the center of the country. That's in the Chicago area. And he says that his fellow white evangelicals have sold out their beliefs by supporting the outgoing president. Here's somebody who's speaking up. And then he begins telling a vision of a time, and he's calling this the reckoning for white evangelical Christians. And the vision, in his vision, pastors are doing a better job at exposing the falsehood of political lies, conspiracy theories, patterns of hate and divisiveness, telling the falsehood of white supremacy and sexism and racism, and instead applying the teachings of Jesus, truth, unity, and love, and teaching skills of thinking to their congregants. This is his vision. These pastors are teaching thinking skills where they can discern truth from falsehood and choose, therefore, unity instead of divisiveness, and taking a stand for love, which means standing up for all of humanity. That means social justice. That includes social justice and equity of all kinds, racial equity, equity for the genders, etc. This is really powerful. This is a powerful leader in the evangelical Christian world who is standing up and speaking truth and giving a solution, sharing a new vision, so that particular group of people are not led down the path of falsehood. And there's much more. If you'd like to read more, his name again is Ed Stetzer. He's the head of the Billy Graham Center for Wheaton College. One of the things I love about our spiritual teachings, we are a mystical tradition, we're a New Thought tradition, and yet we embrace the truth when it shows up in other religions as well. And to me, that is so heartwarming to see that love truly is being, taking a front row seat now in by leaders who are willing to speak up. And so to these four that I just added, the last one was about living and television. Television, I love that. I'd like to add to that something that Ernest Holmes says. He says, the laws of the universe are to be trusted. And here's where some of us fall into a little bit of a glitch. And I know I can do this too at times, even though I've been involved in this for so long. The laws of the universe are to be trusted. They work for us, through us, and as us, according to our predominant beliefs. So, do you have a belief that doesn't serve you, or some beliefs that aren't serving you? Are you limiting yourself in any way? And I'm doing some deep questioning about that myself right now. I have some time off. I'm not teaching a class right now. I'm taking the self-study version of Deb's class. And I'm really looking, are there any beliefs that are holding me back? Because I know it's the beliefs that outpicture in our lives. And so in order to strengthen our trust, here's what we do, is we begin to set a new intention, or we use spiritual mind treatment. This is a beautiful form of prayer where we claim the highest truth, all there is God, I'm one with God, and then from that place of power we claim our new vision as already happening. When we watch out, we look out for the evidence of that intention showing up in our lives, we write it down and give thanks for it. That is how we strengthen our trust, because we begin to see the cause, the new thought, and the effect in our world, the operation of a law that is to be trusted. So here's what I want to just share up front about gratitude. I am so grateful for the principles and the tools of science of mind, what they've offered me, what they've offered all of us as spiritual community and so many other spiritual communities across the planet that are part of Centers for Spiritual Living. I'm grateful that I attracted them at a very crucial point in my life when my life was not working at all. And for the ongoing support that these principles have served me. And I'm also so grateful that it attracted you into my life, my beloved community, whom I truly love and adore. And I'm grateful for the one life God that we are all sharing. So solution-focused practices result in us being spiritually, upwardly mobile in the here and now. It happens here and now. Ernest Holmes wrote at the end,
Switch to the other camera.
okay. Okay, can everybody hear me? Just do thumbs up if you can hear me. Great, all right. I don't know how much you missed.
It wasn't much.
Okay, so I'm just going to do the conclusion again, which is this. Solution-focused practices result in a spiritually upwardly mobile life. And it happens in the here and now. Laughing, loving, giving, living, in other words, television, and gratitude, all key components for that process of conscious evolution. And Ernest Holmes wrote at the end of chapter 4 in Science of Mind, a new light is coming into the world. We are in the borderland of a new experience. The veil between spirit and matter is very thin. Do you feel that? I do. I feel that. I'm witnessing it in my own life, and I'm witnessing it in our country and in our world. I know the new light is awakening more fully to our role as creators. So here's my proposal. Let us create a new normal in 2021, a new magnificent normal, a new normal in which love prevails, a new normal in which truth prevails, a new normal in which we tell each other a vision more frequently than we complain. All right? Sound good? Great. And so let us fully and completely accept the truth of this beautiful intention, the fulfillment of this intention with a powerful yes, and so it is. Namaste, my friends.